Hey everyone, I'm Ian McCarthy of Lifting for Life, bringing you another training vlog. My apologies, by the way, for the recent absence on YouTube. I'm definitely intent on getting more content up moving forward between the vlogs, Lifting for Life Q&A videos, and the standalone informative videos. One direction in which I want to go in particular is to do more research review videos. I did the one discussing Schoenfeld et al. 2017, the protein timing related paper, and the response was overwhelmingly positive. I really enjoyed making that video. I feels like that's the kind of content that I do particularly well, and at the same time I recognize that people like the training footage, so I want to put out a lot more of this also. So what you're seeing here is footage from last night's workout, upper body A, and if I recall correctly, last time I did a vlog, I was still running my 4-day-a-week program referring to body part training frequency there. So what I was doing was full body, lower body, upper body, full body, lower body, upper body, rest, and typically on that quote-quote rest day, I would do some additional high-rep weak point work. And in hindsight, I do think that program was highly effective, but it was really just too much for me. Despite sleeping a lot, eating a lot, I've been bulking for, this is now my 9th week, eating quite a lot in that period. Despite that, there was no way I could recover from it. It was really outside of my capacity, barring probably steroid use. So what I did was, for one thing, I pulled back really hard for about 3 days to allow myself to recover, but then I shifted to a 3-day-a-week, once again referring to body part training frequency there. Lower upper, lower upper, lower upper, which is what I'm still doing. And indeed, in the intervening period, I think I've been doing this for, I think this is now the 3rd week. A lot of I think here, perhaps for future videos I should better research my own stuff, but I've become even more disciplined about not allowing myself to do stuff like daily arm work, even though I've done it in the past and it's been highly effective. I've realized that, at least for the time being, emphasizing recovery is appropriate, and I felt a lot better as a result of exerting more discipline in the direction of doing less, interestingly. And for those of you who follow me on Instagram, you may have seen the post I made last night talking about how this year I've actually made a point of working less hard so as to avoid burnout. And it might be a little unclear what I mean by that. It might simply give the impression that I literally just do less work. What I mean is I push less aggressively at any one time so as to avoid burnout, and ultimately I do more work. So in the case, and this is true of my life generally, but in the context of training in particular, I've really emphasized being okay with leaving just a little bit in the tank, such that I don't find myself in the middle of the training week just dead and barely able to train, which is something that has happened many, many times in the past. So again, that's the approach I'm taking now. To use this, it was quite redundant, but to use this workout as an example, I did 10 movements. Obviously you'll see everything here, but maybe even a few weeks ago I would have done this workout and then I would have pushed to, hey, maybe I should do some abs on top of this, even though I did abs yesterday. Maybe I should do some calves on top of this, even though I did calves the day prior, because I absolutely want to improve my calves. But you know, interestingly, at least recently, it has seemed that additional work which you think might not be the difference has made a difference. In other words, not doing it has made a difference. I've also pulled back more on heavy training, not that I was doing much anyway, but there was a period of probably 4 to 6 weeks in which I experimented with doing more than I've done in the past, and my experience was quite negative in terms of I mean, interestingly, I was able to, and quite intuitively, I was able to gain strength fairly rapidly, but eventually I got to the point where I was just wiped out coming back to the recovery point. And you have to consider the fact that on a per set basis, heavy work yields less volume. So it's disproportionately fatiguing is what I'm getting at. Given the same actual hypertrophic stimulus, it's going to be harder to recover from, both in terms of within any one workout and from workout to workout. And the example I typically come back to on this is, like, looking at it from a scientific perspective, is Schoenfeld et al. 2014, which is the quote powerlifting versus bodybuilding study, although I always note that I'm not sure how often powerlifters actually do 7 sets of 3, but in that study, which was a volume equated study, 7 sets of 3 compared to 3 sets of 10 generated very similar hypertrophy, yet the 3 sets of 10, the group doing the 3 sets of 10 was able to do that much, much faster. They were able to recover better. To my knowledge, no one in that group got injured. Multiple people in the heavier training group got injured. And by the end of the study, the folks doing 3 sets of 10 noted that they were eager and able to do more. Meanwhile, the folks doing 7 sets of 3 were really beat up. So again, speaking for myself and what I'm doing in my training currently, I have further de-emphasized heavy work. So in this workout, I did multiple sets of 6 on pull-ups, multiple sets of 6 on incline barbell press. I'm not unwilling to go below that, but interestingly, I was thinking about this when I was training. There really seems like something changes between 6 reps and 5 in my experience. Like, a set of 5 feels very different to a set of 6. Now, that might just be me, but to put it very non-technically, sets of 6 feel a lot better to me than sets of 5. And then that's true to an extent between sets of 5 and 4, but again, there seems to be something happens there. Someone needs to run a study, find the explanation. It's actually good that I stopped at shrugs, because this gives me an opportunity to explain why I'm actually doing them. Because those of you who follow me fairly intently might know that I generally don't recommend shrugs, and I stand by that. But in my case, I jokingly, but 94% seriously say I have no traps, so I'm willing to experiment. So I've been doing some high rep dumbbell shrugs a few times a week recently. The reason behind the high reps is 3 years ago now, marginally brilliant guy, Andrew Vygotsky, someone I really respect and regard as, just in terms of raw intellect, one of the very smartest people I've met in the fitness industry. He sent me a study in which some fine wire EMG work had been done on the upper traps and the levator scapulae, the muscles that run up your neck and that literally just elevate the scapulae. And this work indicated that upper traps activity relative to levator scapulae activity was higher when loads were lighter, in the case of shrugs. So this is suggestive that would be the way to go in practice, higher rep dumbbell shrugs. Whereas with heavier work, what you would see is more levator scapulae activity relative to upper traps activity. And I think our speculated explanation for this was that when you're using a lighter weight, you're able to perform more scapular upward rotation, which will cause the upper traps to be involved to a greater degree. So that was a highly technical explanation of one exercise in this workout. Hitting some curls here. I favored alternating hammer curls for a while, but decided to replace those with these alternating supination curls for the time being. Already a lot of pulling work in this workout. Nothing was supinated though, so that was the reasoning. Upper body blows mine away. This set lasts 6 minutes. Going for the time under tension. Ended up going a bit heavier on these. Purely anecdotally, this exercise feels better heavier, meaning sets of 6 to 8 reps. Indeed, with biceps generally, I would say that it can be... I sometimes have the issue of them getting so pumped that I don't feel I can really train them, and you sidestep that issue somewhat with lower rep training. As you can see, I'm willing to use a little bit of controlled momentum and interesting faces on the concentric, and then I really fight the negative. Best not to have any fun at the gym. And then finished off with some overhead extensions. So you notice I only did the one exercise for biceps because I had this epiphany that at this time I simply don't care very much about biceps development. So that was, I felt very, I feel free now. I don't have to try. However, with triceps, I have them. They're a genetic strong point, and I want to play to that strength. So I did the 2 triceps exercises. This is me imitating the meme of me looking like this. So the objective with overhead extensions is to flex the shoulder, because the triceps cross the shoulder. At least the long head. Wow, it's been a minute since I've actually looked at where the different heads of the triceps originate and insert. But in doing this, you're able to additionally stimulate the long head, which has the greatest potential for growth. I would suggest... Oh. This was Victoria's doing. But I was going to say that my suggestion on that exercise is to absolutely not go below 10 reps, as it can be really harsh on your elbows. This is some posing. I don't know why I'm dancing here. Again, 8 weeks into a bulk, weighing 175, 176 pounds there. That was my realization that if I were to do a back pose, you want to be able to see anything. Here's a side chest, another side chest. I would say my legs have improved a bit recently. And that's the video, guys. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you again soon. Hit the like button. Hit it. Click. Alright, bye.